When there's an injustice against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down on them, if they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Pop Culture Justice, our live show here every day on Popcorn Planet where we go through the headlines. And I'm so excited to have It's Kim back with me to digest some breaking news that came in.
Yes.
We were just trying to figure out what to talk about today. And then Kim's like, whoa, Andy, we got it. Laura B just posted. And yes, guys, today's breaking news. Johnny Depp has filed an appeal against Amber Heard. The only time I will say her name is when we're actually talking about real news, and this is pretty big news. We talked yesterday that Amber filed her appeal against Johnny, but now Johnny's team has filed his against her as well. So he's filed his notice of appeal. He's now also being listed as appellant. Now, again, we don't have these documents yet. This is all still private in the court, but we do have here that as he's listed as the appellant and the appellee with two different files, we now can deduce that, yes, Johnny has also indeed filed an appeal back. Now, this is important to know because, look, the reason I've been told by Christopher Melcher previously, and he sadly, I don't know if he's going to be able to join today. He's in an airport, but he did text me some information here. The real reason this is happening, according to him, and it makes sense, is really to make sure that they avoid Amber actually getting paid instead. Because you got to remember, Kim, right? Like, there are two, Johnny won the bulk of it, but there was that one charge that came back for, I'm sorry, what was the amount that Amber won?
Like $2 million or something like that.
Chat, help us to be more specific. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the exact amount Amber made. But what was so tricky, as we were talking about with Christopher, lawyer Christopher, he was saying, well, what's really scary is this fact that he might have to pay her because while she's appealing, she's not obviously ever going to pay him. But then meanwhile, they could start pursuing the $2 million that Johnny owes Amber. It wouldn't just come out and be, canceled due to the fact. It would be like, all right, we'll start paying. And so the idea of Johnny having to pay the $2 million while waiting for his, $10 million or whatever from Amber would have been absurd and insanely frustrating. So Christopher had warned us of that a while back. And as he's deduced, this is all just part of the process. It's to protect him. And it's also to ensure that he's not then stuck paying the bill that Amber now is supposed to get just because he can and she can't. A lot of this is sort of obligatory since Amber filed her appeal as well. So I want to get to his quote directly because I asked two questions to him. And so these are the words from Christopher Melcher. He's on a flight, though, so he couldn't join here. I'm glad he appealed. He needed to do that and post a suspension bond to keep AH from collecting the $2 million. He doesn't have much of a chance of winning this appeal because the jury gets to decide if the evidence is sufficient. JD's lawyers did not do much of anything to address the question whether Waldman acted with JD's authority in making the statement. He's right. I'll come back to that in a second. I asked, though, did she end up paying? Because remember, Kim, there was all this talk of that Amber couldn't appeal unless she put down that $10 million bond as well to sort of justify it, which we seem to hear that the judge even sort of said, no, you're going to have to pay it. But Christopher did clarify, she doesn't have to post a suspension bond right away. She files the appeal first to get a case number and meet the deadline. She then decides whether to post a bond to prevent JD from enforcing the judgment during her appeal. She cannot afford to post the 10.35 bond, $10.35 million, because she has no such assets to secure it. She will try to convince Travelers, that's the insurance company. She will likely try to convince the insurance company to post the bond for her under threat of suing them. We will see what happens. So there's a lot to digest there, Kim, to break down because no, she didn't have to pay yet, according to him. I have Rob from Law and Lumber and Nate, I've reached out to a couple other lawyers. Hopefully, maybe some of them will pop into the show today to break down their insight on this as well. But again, from what I've gathered there, as Christopher's told us previously, and what we're gathering based on this information today, this is all to ensure that he doesn't have to pay her, and it's all part of the process that he needs to do. But so before we get to will Amber pay, I want to come back to that point. I do think it's important to talk about for a little bit here the Adam Waldman, statement. The one statement which alluded to it being a hoax. Yeah, I do think Johnny's team did not fight that as well as they could have. They even left a lot of time on the clock, Kim, as you'll remember. There were a couple days at the end, they were like, yep, we give up our time. And then by the end of it, while Amber just had minutes left, was rushing, but still didn't run out of time. Technically, she did play to the clock pretty much. Johnny had a lot left over. So it was very surprising to me that they didn't push back to really help Adam Waldman and his statements, so they didn't seem unfair. Kim, I want to get your thoughts on all this. I want to go get that actual what the actual defamation that Amber won up on screen. So while I do that, Kim, what are your thoughts on all this?
I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I do agree with you. I don't know how well his appeal is going to do, but at the same time, I also wasn't sure if he was going to get all of the points with Amber. So, I mean, at this point, nobody knows 100%. But I'm glad that he is sticking up for himself still, and that hopefully both parties, they have legal right to do that. Amber has legal right to appeal, and so does Johnny. And I'm glad they have those rights. Everybody deserves those rights, and I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to get to, because there was a I think Jax has. Let me see. Do you have that Waldman email? There was an email that Waldman sent out, which I'm trying to find quickly. Sorry, I don't have this as ready, but so bear with me, guys, as we're reacting live.
It was honestly like we were talking about what are we going to do for the headline today. We're going back and forth in the chat, brainstorming, and he went to go work on something, and I'm like, hey! Anyway, Laura updated. And we just ran.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to get her to send it because they're again what they charged. Johnny won all the cases, right? All his side, he won it all. Defamation was clear cut. But here was Waldman said Amber Heard and her friends in the media used a fake SV allegations as both sword and shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her SV hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. So this was the statement that they decided was defamatory and I guess unproven. Is what the jury deduced based on the statement. Awesome. She just sent me to. So I want to share this because I think this is key. Sorry, bear with me. Awesome. I'm also just gonna invite her if she wants.
More the merrier. Let's go.
Okay, I just sent that because she her and Brian Fella have here it is, save as Adam email. Sorry guys, here it is.
Yay! We're getting
Okay,
there.
so this was sent, and this was a when they were interviewing Josh Drew at the time. Here it is. Adam emailed the lawyers. Here it is, Ben, Camille, etc. I interviewed Drew. Here are the key points from that call. So you got to remember, this is a lawyer basically talking to the witness. All of this is allowed to be entered into the case. You got to keep that in mind. So he says, after he interviewed Drew the first time, Drew told Adam via this email recollection back, Rocky and Amber's sworn stories that she was summoned by an 8:07 p.m. text to come help her with the Berserk Johnny was a lie. Rocky was hiding in Penthouse 5 all along. Almost certainly in the coat closet by the front door, which explains both the security guard's testimony that she never came past them and was already in the apartment when they entered, and Johnny's that Rocky just came out of nowhere past his right shoulder to go stand with Amber. Super important fact, I hope people repeat it, this makes the whole thing a setup and discredits both their testimonies. So here's what Josh has sort of confirmed and what they've found out, what he revealed in the first way, which again proves the ambush, right, is what they were saying was defamatory here.
Sorry, Andy, just before we keep going, I'm pretty sure, I'm just taking a look, the statement that was considered defamatory was the one about like the wine being spilled and all that type of stuff. I think.
No, it was the hoax one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, okay.
It's the hoax one. It was part 2. It was the hoax one. I can't find if someone can send me or audio. Sorry, because again we react this quickly and I don't have that file. If someone can have the judgment with the actual the 3 accusations, if someone has that in our headline group that can send to me quickly, we can verify it. But I'm pretty positive this is the one we're talking about. It was the hoax one. Amber was sleeping with Musk all the way, sleeping with Musk all the week after the 21st. Obviously not on Franco's night, the 22nd. Josh Drew confirmed this in their call. Amber and Musk were into some kinky things together. He didn't elaborate. She did have marks on her at times. He even seemed to suggest that she had marks on her night of the 21st. Although, of course, we know this is not true. Do we know if he ever gave a declaration to Amber? I bet he did back then. There was a long gap between Johnny's departure and calling the cops, perhaps an hour or more. He couldn't be precise. During that time, they all sat together in Penthouse 3 on the phone with Samantha Spector, her divorce lawyer, who was guiding them to writing it all down to get their story straight before calling the cops. So this email, which he had and wrote urgent to the lawyers, based on his interview with Drew, which Adam was still a lawyer. I don't think he was repping, but he still was able to. But the lawyer-client privilege at that point is allowed to be entered. This isn't like hearsay when it's the lawyer speaking, from what I've gathered, and I've asked multiple sources to confirm this. This could have been entered, and they chose not to enter. And beyond even just entering it, they chose not to challenge Josh Drew, when being interviewed, which is really odd and frustrating because they easily could have said, all right, well, you told our attorney, Adam Waldman, on so-and-so date that Rocky was hiding in the closet, and da-da-da. They didn't do any of that, which is really frustrating and confusing. And this email got leaked after sort of that all went down because, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure things out. But it does feel like Adam Waldman, in a way, might have been thrown under the bus because, I don't know, they're trying to find some sort of scapegoat for some of it, which I do think has been very unfair to him because he was the one who was very, right out the gate through this whole thing, really is why they won this case because of all the evidence that's come forward and everything else. So this whole thing about Amber, it's frustrating because, yes, they should have asked more. As Christopher even said, given what we know, they didn't. They could have pushed more to try to prove this was questionable and that there was a setup, that they were hiding there in advance, and that they were speaking to the divorce lawyer together before calling the cops to, as this says, to take all this and use it to then inflict them and the public on Mr. Depp, to this hoax, these facts on it. Quite simply, this was an ambush and a hoax. So there was a lot there that he said that I don't even think it was defamatory, to be honest. I think he was repeating what he heard and was said to him by Josh Drew, right? And so when he heard this from a witness, okay, well, that's where it's coming from. I didn't just make it up. I was told this. You know what I mean, Kim? So it's frustrating because honestly, he should appeal it because it wasn't right, in my opinion, from how the jury saw it all. It wasn't. I don't think Johnny's team did a good job explaining it. So I'm glad they're filing this appeal now. But even I think that Laura even says Depp believes the verdict was overwhelmingly positive for him and it's time to move on. Move on with her lives and heal, but Heard is appealing. Depp is counter appealing to ensure the record includes his side and all legal issues considered. So again, Depp filed a notice of appeal Friday seeking to overturn the single court count of defamation that his ex-wife Amber Heard won at their bombshell trial. The 59 actors hoping that the appeal will nullify the $2 million award the jury handed Heard over in her claims. Depp's lawyer false and damaging comments about her. Depp's new filing comes just one day after X filed her own appeal to the $10.3 million. A source close to Depp told the Post the actor believes the verdict was overwhelmingly positive for him. It's time for him and Heard to move on with their lives and heal. But since the 36-year-old actress brought further litigation with her appeal, Depp is counter-appealing in Fairfax, Virginia court to ensure that the record includes his side and that all legal issues are considered by the appeals court. So I don't think he would have filed this appeal had she not done it. Mm-hmm. Potentially this would have all just gone away. But because he has to. And as Christopher says, I think he's got an uphill battle to win this because Amber also has an uphill battle to win this. It's a hard thing to win. But like he said there, he doesn't have much of a chance of winning because the jury gets to decide if the evidence is sufficient, and JD's lawyers did not give much evidence to address whether Waldman acted with JD's authority, let alone whether those statements were true. So that's the first part of this. Johnny has filed. He has to file. So be it. Good. I'm glad. I hope they do try to attempt to put more on the record just so people know. But he's I suspect, right? He's got as much of an uphill battle to win this as Amber Heard does, which is nil. Thank God. It's a good thing to be worried about. Now, back to the who's paying what. I want to read that again because we had all these people speculating that Amber was going to have to pay the 10.35 bond to even file this appeal. She didn't. She didn't have to do that. But as Christopher's telling us now, she files it. She gets the case number. She has to meet this deadline. She then decides whether to post a bond to prevent JD from enforcing the judgment during her appeal. She cannot afford to post it because she has no assets to secure it. Thank God. She will then have to try to convince Travelers, which is the insurance company, to post the bond for her or threaten to sue them, which we'll then see what happens. So Travelers is the one who's been footing a lot of this bill, it turns out. And now we could potentially see Amber suing them for breach of contract or whatever. You're not protecting me. You're not letting me appeal. I'm innocent. Why won't you help me post this bond? Everybody who's been worried about, well, Amber's not going to be able to do it anyway because of the money. She still may be able to get away with this appeal. Now, again, Kim, do you feel like she's going to win this appeal? I don't. Chad, I'm going to put a poll out to you guys as well. But what do you think about this plan? And do you think she'll sue the insurance?
Quite possibly. I just sent you a link in Boss Level. It just goes over a bit more about the statements if we want to break them down. It does look like it was the second count against Depp, which was the quote about it being an ambush, a hoax, spilled a little wine and all of that. But I think regardless, I mean, I don't think she's going to win her appeal. Everything that I've seen when it comes to Virginia law, Amber really doesn't have grounding to move forward. It was the same thing. She tried to argue about the juror and everything else. It's not going to work because Virginia law doesn't work that way. So you can cut it any way you want. You can say, it's a conspiracy or the judge is against me or the courts are against me, but these are the laws, and they knew these laws when the case was done here. So I can't see it, but again, I don't know. I'm not a legal professional, but I can't see it. I just can't.
I just put a poll up, and already overwhelmingly 98% of you were saying no. No. Nerd News Auto, thank you for the $2. Team Depp is going to win. I hope so too. Angie Ray, I saw your chat. Sarah Polaskinski, thank you so much. I don't think I have the pinned comment there. I'll put it there. So if you guys have comments and you want to help, we will read I want to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think that are watching? What do you think is going to happen here? We are going to talk about this. I may even open the phone lines. I always try to do that a little bit on Fridays so you guys can chime in. And we are going to get the Feel Good Florida Man Fridays. We got a lot of you tuning in for the Johnny Depp news, and we always cover it. But we also try to have some fun here on Fridays to read the most ridiculous stories we can. So stay tuned as we get there. All the people hoping for that. Yes, I promise we'll get there. I can't stay too long live today, but we will get some of that. Tracy, thanks again for the $2. Has anyone put together that Musk was trying to buy Twitter for AH to find out how many bots were used against AH? And when Twitter refused to share that information, Musk backed out. Musk disappeared for a week recently. I believe he was at Amber Heard's to see her daughter. Wait, what? That's speculation like I've ever heard it. Do we have any proof that he was anywhere near visiting Amber? Because that would be fascinating to know. But I don't buy that. But I mean, I can speak for both of us. That's totally Elon's baby, right? You suspect it too?
I'm gonna pull in Evan Rachel Wood and say I'm not making a comment.
Smart. No, I'll do it. I'll make the comment. Hell's yeah. He's sleeping with every employee he can get his Musk in. Of course he's out there helping Amber Heard. And I think Amber tricked her because he thought Amber was smart. He thought Amber would be good stock for his Mars population, in my opinion. My conspiracy theory, my whatever. I absolutely think that happened. But I didn't know they were out there. But yes, did Elon buy Twitter for Amber? I don't think so. I think Elon's an internet troll first and foremost, and there were a lot of other reasons that he did that. However, could that have been an extra bonus reason? Yeah, maybe. Do you know what else is weird about? Someone else wrote this to me, and I didn't know it. To talk about Amber's obsession level. Johnny's kids apparently were both characters in the Tom Cruise Ridley Scott movie Legend. Did you know this, Kim? Lily Rose.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Lily Rose and Jack, I guess, those were kids' names. Were character names in Legend, which is by Ridley Scott and the Tom Cruise movie. Someone right, correct me, chat, if I'm wrong. Guess who also is a character in Legend? Una, which is the name of the baby that Amber had. If that's true, that's freaking weird, right? like, right? Is that false? Okay, someone help.
If that's true, that's true. Weird.
So, someone saw the name. Legend characters. Let's see. Is there a character of Una in Legend? We always like to debunk things here. Yeah, Annabelle Lena as Una. It's spelled differently, but there is an Una in Legend. That's creepy.
All right.
Okay,
all right.
There's an Una. Okay, so that's not wrong. Is there a Lily Rose?
I mean,
there's a Jack and Lily.
Illegal.
Yeah, Jack, Lily. There it is. It's not false. That's creepy. That's what I thought. I was like, I haven't seen it forever.
It's not illegal, but that's.
Dude, what a weird movie too, because there's not a lot of names. You can't name them Darkness or Gump or Screwball.
Gump.
But you can go pick Una. My God, that's creepy. Look at that, Jack and Lily. Now, I don't know if they decided to do that on purpose, but clearly there's a nice little nod. And she went and picked Una. Look at that.
I'm just imagining a baby now being named Gump. Like a beautiful, like a Pottery Barn nursery with just Gump written on the wall.
Oh, man. Sorry, I know it's Fridays. We try to laugh on Fridays to get us going in positively in the weekends, but that's scary. That is scary. Wow. I mean, I guess it could be an accident. I guess.
I don't know. It's a very specific name to be an accident, in all fairness, though. I understand why people would come to that conclusion. It's kind of like right there. It's very much if it looks like a duck type moment, but
they could have named, I mean, he could have picked Demon Cook. That would have made more sense for Amber lineage. Sorry, that's mean. Yeah, I mean, come on, Amber. If you're gonna name your kid, you gotta. If you're gonna name your Amber's kid should be named Darkness, if anything, like the devil in Legend. Oh no, I wish the best for the kid. I hope they get out of this. Okay, don't ever wish anything on the kid. No. But that is a moment where you're like, damn, that's creepy.
That's weird.
That's some weird shit. But yes, back to where we are to confirm up this story. The second count was that. Quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. This is what she won the defamation on. This was a hoax. They set Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. Officers came to the penthouse, thoroughly searched and interviewed, left the scene after seeing no damage or property. All this is true. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine, roughed the place up, and got their story straight on the direction of a lawyer, Samantha Spector, and a publicist, and then placed a second call to 911.
And I think that part is where there's the issue.
Correct.
It's that they didn't prove without a shadow of a doubt that Amber and everybody called the lawyer and the publicist. And because they couldn't prove that, that statement could not be confirmed as true.
But that's what's so frustrating because Josh Drew did confirm they did that apparently in the first conversation, which should have been admissible and wasn't. So clearly, I don't know if Adam leaked this or how this got out there. I can only assume maybe because I would too. I'd be pissed if I were him because I'd be like, what the hell? Why'd you guys not? You knew this information. Why didn't you use it?
How could you miss this?
Yeah, you had it in your pocket, and then you're gonna throw me under the bus like it's my fault that now Johnny has to owe $2 million. Like, oh well, everyone won except for Adam Waldman. It is a weird fight that I don't know if there is some Adam. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I support them all in a way just because I know they all got Johnny through the finish line. But it is frustrating to me that Johnny's team couldn't have helped seal this better. So Johnny won, fully. Because again, he has to do it with malice. Someone else said it. I don't believe he lied with malice here, especially given this email, which could have been introduced to say, well, Josh Drew emailed. And here's the evidence of the conversation I had with Josh Drew. He told me this. At least tell the jury this, right? They had, that's what's so frustrating. They had extra time. And they allowed this to fall by the wayside. I guess because they were probably more concerned and focused on the other stuff, which I get that. Better to win that stuff than to worry about the other ones, but I don't know. It feels like you should have done it all, in my opinion. So there you go. That's the latest we have. And then back to whether Amber will pay. I think she's gonna. I'm going to open up the line. I'm going to let you guys call. Send over your chats and comments, but let's see, get some of your thoughts. But I bet you that insurance company ends up being on the hook to pay. Myra says, hey, Andy, I have a question for all the randos watching YouTube. Has anyone else seen the Johnny Depp show? Because according to AH, people who are coming out of the woodwork to be on the Johnny Depp show, I'm guessing it's a great show to make randos come out. Yeah, I haven't seen it, Myra. I would love to watch the Johnny Depp show. That's all this is. It's just a Johnny Depp show. No, this was a real serious case. What happens with all AH? What happens with all AH due to YouTuber? I don't understand, Arrogor. Sir, the question is unclear. Nerd News Auto says, Elon needs more babies for Mars. Justice for Johnny says, a narcissist will never stop trying to prove their own BS. They truly believe their own lies. I know, it's scary. Sarah, thank you as well. Christine says, AH's side didn't prove that Walden's comments were made on JD's orders, did they? So if JD isn't responsible, AH's win could be overturned, maybe? Maybe. Yeah, again, but I still come back to, if AH isn't going to win the appeal because the judge and the jury didn't do anything wrong, how is Johnny going to do it? It's really on Johnny's lawyers that didn't work. Johnny's lawyers, I mean, sorry, don't be mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger, but Johnny's lawyers did not do a good enough job to wipe that one out. And I think, if anything, the jury was probably just confused, and then maybe they were placating someone in that jury to be like, whatever, okay, well, we don't believe Amber. But then maybe someone was like, but how do you know this is true? And maybe it was like, all right, fine, give her that one. We good? Can we all go home? It sounds way more believable to me than anything else, because being that they didn't even know how to put the money in and they had to do that last minute, it was very clear that the jury didn't fully understand how to do the instructions. And so that's the issue. TB163 says, no, Elon wised up to stop team from using bots. Okay, interesting. And Courtney became a member. Thanks, everybody becomes a member. In fact, consider joining. We have a lot of member-only streams and fun stuff, and you always get to catch the replays. Pick a tier, hit join. You'll also be able to see the studio tour. I give you exclusive first access to what the new studio is going to be, because as much as I love this studio, I'm going to be sad when it's gone. These shelves are getting destroyed. Some of this stuff will be moving with me, but we're going to upgrade everything, and I'm so happy to announce that you guys bought everything. You bought the wish list, you paid the GoFundMe, you blew it past its goal to 4K so we can get our cameras to 4K. On top of all of that, you got all the gear we needed. So this whole studio that I'm going to be building in the next couple weeks will be entirely funded by all of you guys. I'm just speechless. Thank you to everybody who donated. There may be a couple little minor chords and things. Some of you have, Kim, it's so wild. People are like, Andy, I missed it. The wish list gone. Is there anything else you need? I feel bad, but guys, there may be a couple little minor things, but you can still be part of the show, obviously, by watching and being here with us. But thanks to everybody who gave and supported. I'm so glad to build all this with you guys and excited for it. But yeah, Kim, it's wild. And so stop fighting in the comments. Keep fighting in the comments. Be with me. Hello. Comments don't matter. I need to talk to you, otherwise the show goes to shit. That's the problem. Kim's still new to this. There are times I don't even see the comments, Kim, because if I do, I can't focus.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to have a fight publicly with someone? Feel free. I got your back.
No, just somebody's asking me how I know all these things about Virginia law, and I know these things about Virginia law because I listen.
Yeah, my God, geez.
And my country of origin has nothing to do with my intelligence.
Oh, you're from Canada. What's this all about? Get out of here, you Canadian. Ugh.
I cannot believe how many people are like, you're Canadian, so you don't know anything. And it's like...
Anyway, Leave Kim alone. Kim knows plenty more. And if you don't trust us, get the hell out and use the X. Oh my God. That's why I can't always focus on it. The comments don't matter right now. We got to deliver a show is what matters. Of course, all of you guys matter, but you know what I mean. If we get so hung up during our portion, I always lose. You guys know me. I'll go on a million rants by one comment. Will just take me off my game. And then the whole flow of the show. Sometimes it's actually fun. I like a good rant. I like when Steph goes off on a good rant on somebody. You know what we say to the person who's bugging you, Kim?
Piss off, you cowbag.
Anyway.
People being like, you're Canadian, so you're dumb. And it's like...
Ignore them. Ignore them. When I say the comments, I mean the mean ones. Ignore the mean comments because they just want to be relevant. And Kim is very smart. I can attest. She is very smart. She got really high SAT scores. I don't know that. I'm just saying that you did. I'm sure you did.
I went to college. All right, we'll do that. I went to college.
Way smarter than a Florida man. See how I did that pivot? Oh,
it's beautiful.
We're going to go all into the feel-good Florida men stories. If you're watching live, you got nothing to worry about. You're going to hear all this crazy funness, and I am going to open up the phone lines and read your comments as they come in, but this is where I splice the show. If you missed it, hit that join, and you can always watch the replays. Well, there you go. What an amazing show we had. Make sure to support It's Kim, The Pascal Show, Nate the Lawyer, as well as Nerd Report. And thanks to all of our callers, including Kylie and Maria who tuned in. You guys are incredible. Lots more coming here on the channel. Next week, I'll be here Monday, and then I'm going to be gone for a week where the ladies will be taking over Popcorn Planet. I hope maybe Nate, Pascal, you have to check in with Steph. Maybe call in. She might need some support next week. I'd love to be grateful for it. But I will be taking a much-needed break next week, but we got one more day Monday, and I may drop some stuff over the weekend. So stay tuned. If you missed the full show, you can always catch the replays by hitting join, pick a tier, and watch the replays. And more importantly, you'll just be supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for supporting the studio growth and everything. Oh my God, there's so much cool stuff coming to Popcorn Planet. So stay tuned and support all my friends here. Nerd Report is next. We'll be redirecting you guys over there for a follow-up show. If you missed it, go check out Nerd Report or click on one of these when videos eventually pop up. I hope someday YouTube automatically puts them there. Yeah. But thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your weekends, and Florida Man is out. Bye, everybody.